I'm going to show you how to draw some cubes in 1-point perspective, and this will show you how to start the 1-point perspective part of the exercise. And remember, for the perspective, the 40 cube perspective assignment, you're going to do 20 cubes in 1-point perspective and 20 cubes in 2-point perspective, and this will be on separate pieces of paper. Alright, so the first step in drawing in 1-point perspective is to establish the horizon line. And the horizon line, in one sense, is what separates the land, from the sky. But also, it's the eye level. Okay, if you were to look out and your sight was parallel with the ground, the horizon line would be at eye level. Okay, now you could place your horizon line wherever you want. You could place it down here, you could place it up here, okay, you can place it off the page, but you're going to want to keep it level, okay? If it's turned, it's going to go a little, it would be interesting, but not in proper perspective. So I'm going to keep it simple. I'm just going to put it right around here. So for this exercise, I'd suggest keeping it on the page, the line you draw. Okay, and now you gotta establish a vanishing point. And remember, with 1-point perspective, you're gonna have one vanishing point. Now this vanishing point can be anywhere on the horizon line, including off the page. But I'm gonna put it right here. Now when you start, you're gonna start by drawing the front face of a cube. Okay, and we're drawing cubes, and these cubes don't have to be square cubes, they can be rectangular as well. Which I'm not sure is actually a cube, but a rectangular three-dimensional shape. You want to make sure that this line is perfectly horizontal and the vertical edges are perfectly vertical. Okay, it's going to take some practice. Now once you draw the front face of your cube, and this doesn't have to be a square, it could be a rectangle as well, you're going to draw from each of the corners to the vanishing point. Okay, now draw this lightly. The reason you draw them light is because you may want to erase them at the end. For this exercise, you actually don't have to erase them, but it's a good practice to keep these lines light. Once you've drawn from the corners to the vanishing point, then you're going to establish the back edges of your cube. Okay, and these back edges are going to be perfectly horizontal as well as perfectly vertical. So you draw the top edge. And now it's just drawing a vertical line down. going to connect these edges. Now once you're done, I would suggest darkening up the lines that are part of the cube and not just the construction lines. So the construction lines are the ones you drew to establish these edges, but these are actually the edges that are part of the cube. So you want to darken those. Now I'm just darkening the edges that are facing me. But you could also darken the ones in the back as well. Okay, now so for this exercise, you could leave the construction lines. That's okay. But if you were to, draw a ruler perspective, then eventually you would erase these construction lines. Okay, now I'm going to make another one. But this one I'm going to make on the horizon line. So the face is going to be on the horizon line. Okay, so you start with the front face. I'm going to make this one a little taller. Okay, I'm not going to make it a perfect cube. And remember, make these horizontal lines perfectly horizontal, and the vertical lines perfectly vertical. Okay, so once you have the front face, then you're going to go from all four corners to the one vanishing point. Okay, and just keep this line light because you don't know how long you're going to make it yet. And I know I went a little dark on the front face, but I know that those lines are going to be seen in the final cube. Okay, and then once you've done that, now you're going to do the back side of the cube. I'm really going to start with one edge. So I'm going to start with this back edge right here. Okay, and then you're going to follow to the edge that connects to this edge. So you don't want to go over here because it's possible these might not connect. But you're going to start with this edge and then you're going to go to an edge that connects to it. So I'm going to do one on the bottom. Okay, I'm going to be keeping it perfectly horizontal. Okay, now you're going to see where these intersect, you're going to connect them and make another vertical line. Okay, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to darken up these lines that I could see. Okay, the edges that I could see. Okay. Now I'm going to do one above the horizon line. Okay, it's going to be the same process. I'm going to start by drawing the front side of the cube. I want to make this one wide. Okay, so this isn't really a cube. Some type of rectangular shape. Okay, now I'm going to follow the four corners to keeping these lines light. And then once you've done that, then you're going to start to draw the lines in the back. Okay, you're going to start with one edge, making sure it's perfectly vertical or perfectly horizontal. And then you're going to follow from that edge to another edge. Okay, keeping it perfectly vertical in this case, and connecting with this intersection point. For that, do this to the other side. You want to make sure you do this with a ruler, okay? Sometimes students try to do this freehand, but you really want to do this with a ruler. Okay, now you're going to connect these two intersection points, which will give you a horizontal line. Okay, now I'm going to darken the edges that I can see. And it's up to you. If you want, you could also wait to the end to darken them. It's possible you may overlap boxes, and you may want to wait to the end. Okay, so now I'm going to show you another technique, and this is when you overlap a box. Okay, so it's possible that you may want to draw a box behind this one. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to draw the front face, but this time I'm going to draw the front face lightly. Okay, and this is because some of this line may be behind the other box. And I want to show that it's behind the other box. So I'm going to make a, well, I'll show you towards the end, but basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to darken the line that you can see. But for now, let's keep it light. And then you're going to follow the four corners of the front face. And this front face, remember, has perfectly vertical and perfectly horizontal lines. You're going to follow those corners to the vanishing point. Okay, and then once you've drawn the front face, then you're going to draw the back of the cube. Okay, and then you're going to draw the rest of the back of the cube, connecting with that edge. Okay, you're going to draw the back edge. And sometimes these edges won't connect, and you just have to double check if they're perfectly horizontal, perfectly vertical. You know, once you're done with this, consider which edges are going to be seen, and you can darken those up. Like I said, you may want to wait till the end in case you decide to put another box in front of this one. I'll just darken it up right now to show you what it will look like if these were the only boxes. Now, what I want you to notice is that when the box is below the horizon line, you could see the top side of it. When it's on the horizon line, you can't see the top or the bottom, but you can see the side. Unless it's right on the dot, and you'll just see the front. If it's above the horizon line, you can see the bottom side. So I want to bring your attention to something. So if the box is below the horizon line, you can see the top side. If it's on the horizon line, but not on the vanishing point, you can see the side. but not the top or the bottom. If it's on the vanishing point, you're only going to see the front side. If it's above the horizon line, you're going to see the bottom side of the box. And I'll draw one more. Okay, so I'm going to leave it at this point, but what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to draw 20 boxes. Okay, and I'm going to draw 20 boxes across. So I'm going to leave it at this point, but what you're going to want to do is you're going to draw 20 boxes. Okay, and you need at least 3 below the horizon line, 3 on the horizon line, and 3 above the horizon line. But in total, 20 of them in 1 point perspective.